Good morning, welcome back to A to Z Gardening. And I think when the home landscaper thinks about a well-manicured, well-designed, perfectly kept home landscape, one of the common things one would think about when they come to the garden center is mulch. But I'm here to give you a few tips this fall and a few ideas to maybe think differently about that mulch. Mulch is not just an attractive weed preventing cover, but this season more than ever, it may make the life or death situation this winter with your plant material. Why is that? We've had a little bit of a drought kind of season, a period of hot and dry throughout the summer. What that does to your landscape, whether it's old or newly installed plant material, is it makes it very difficult and a little stressful for all those fine little white root hairs to stay thriving and to keep pulling moisture. Most of the heavy lifting in a nursery plant is done by those outside, those far away from the stem, fine little white root hairs. And in order for those root hairs to thrive, they like even moisture throughout your soil. So in order to do that, make sure you cover with just a couple inches of mulch to stop that aggressive sun and wind from baking that soil dry. It evens out your temperature and evens out the moisture, not just making it beautiful and keeping down the weeds. Let's go take a look at a couple other tips that make a big difference in the landscape utilizing your mulch. So one little sample I have here is a tip on what I see all over, and I think it's well-meaning, but we've set up a little example here in the nursery to call what Rick, our cameraman, likes to call mulch volcanoes. I see a little bit of mulch added every year for decorative and proper purposes, but over time that starts to build up and you no longer can see what we call on this tree the root flare. So the stem comes down at a pretty steady rate, and then it should taper into what we call the root flare. Over years of adding mulch for proper purposes, it builds up around the stem, creating that volcano that Rick likes to refer to. What that does is it causes a little bit of restriction or girdling along the back on the stem here. On the stem itself, that surface area behind that is what's doing all the heavy lifting for the water and nutrients that flows through this plant. So putting mulch up around it higher every year, doing that volcano, is like putting a rubber band around your finger. It's slowly cutting off the circulation to do what the tree needs to do. If you have this in your landscape, feel free to pull all of that mulch back so you can see the exposed root flare and put a fresh couple inches down. It will go back to normal so all that flow appears in your stem. So I'm out here in another pile that may look like mulch, but this here is mushroom compost. So you may not have used mushroom compost for a mulch in the past, but if you have established plant material, something that has been older and kind of rooted in its area for a long period of time, mushroom compost can be used as a top dressing. For example, years ago we had some older fruit trees in the field, had been there a long time, had just worn out their welcome in that area. We mulched those trees with 2 or 3 inches of mushroom compost. It has a very mobile feed charge to it, high in organic matter, leaches down through, and it reinvigorated those fruit trees to produce a bumper crop of fruits that season. So if you have established material, go ahead and mulch with that. Do not mulch your brand new installations. Instead, use this mushroom compost. I always kind of call it like a magic pixie dust. It is really good additive to your soil, and use it like a 1:5 ratio in new plantings incorporated in that soil as you backfill. So one more option for mulching and fertilizing all in one. The good news about mushroom compost is it's pasteurized. It doesn't inherently come with weed seeds. Nothing grows until that seed kind of incorporates from where it blew in from. Nothing comes in the material. For any questions about winter protection or mulching in your landscape, feel free to contact any of us professionals here at Stans.